Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari. Gopi Jaya Vallabha Giridhari. Gopi Jaya Vallabha Giridhari. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ramana. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ramana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ramana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pariva Jakacharya Asta Tarashata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pariva Jakacharya Asta Tarashata Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhuma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupa Sanata Pata Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Amacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Pranath Raj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. ISKCON Bhartma Guru Vrinda Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Brahmanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru Shri Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayam Hridayat Nasta Preshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistiki. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by the rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. All right. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. Today is November 23rd, 2025. And we are reading Canto 4, Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 30, Activities of the Prachetas, and we're doing verses 39 and 40. All right. Yana svadhitam gurava prasadita. Yana svadhitam gurava prasadita. Viprascha vidascha sadanuvritya. Viprascha vidascha sadanuvritya. Aryanata surida pratarascha. Aryanata Sarvani Bhutani Anushayaiva. Sarvani Bhutani Anushayaiva. Yana Sutaptam Tapaetadisha. Yana Sutaptam Tapaetadisha. Verandha Sankalam Adabrahmapsu. Verandha Sankalam Adabrahmapsu. Sarvam taretat purushasya bhumo. Sarvam taretat purushasya bhumo. Rini mahete paritoshanaya. Rini mahete paritoshanaya. Yana svadhitam gurava prasadita. Yana svadhitam gurava prasadita. Viprascha vidascha sadanuvritya. Viprascha vidascha sadanuvritya. Aryanataha surya pratarascha. Aryanataha surya pratarascha. Sarvani bhutani anusayaiva. Sarvani bhutani anusayaiva. Yana sutaptam tapaetadisha. Yana sutaptam tapaetadisha. Nirantha sankalamada brahmapsu. Nirantha sankalamada brahmapsu. Sarvam taritat purushasya bhumno. Sarvam taritat purushasya bhumno. Rini mahete paritoshanaya. Rini mahete paritoshanaya. Okay, please share. Yana svahitam purava prasadita. Viprascha vidascha sadanuvritya. Aryanatasurabrahmarascha Sarvani Bhutani Anusuyayaiva Yana Sutaptam Tapaetarisha Niranga Sankalama Brahmasu Sarvam Tareta Purushasya Bhumno Vrinimahete Paritoshanaya
Yana Smaditam Gurava Prasidata
Yana Smaditam Gurava Prasadita
Viprascha Sadhanuvritya
Viprascha Vidascha Sadanuvritya
Aryanata Surido Brattarascha
Aranata Surido Praratascha
Sarvani Bhutani Anasuyayaiva
Sarvani Bhutani Asuyaraiva
Yana Sutaptam Tapa Etarisha
Yana Sotaptam Tapaitarisha
Niranda Shampalam Adabrahmasu
Verandha Sankalamada Brahmapsu
Sarvam Tadetat Purushasya Bhumno
Sarvam Taretat Purushasya Bhumno
Rine Mahete Parito Shanaya
Rine Mahete Paritoshanaya. Okay, word for word. Yat what? Na bias. Svadhitam study. Gaurava superior persons, spiritual masters. Prasadita satisfied. Vipra the brahmanas. Cha and Ridha those who are elderly. Cha and Satanuvritaya by our gentle behavior. Arya those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge. Nata were offered obeisances. Suhrida friends. Pratara brothers. Cha and Sarvani all. Bhutani living entities. Anushyaya Anusuyaya, sorry, without envy. Envy, Eva, certainly. Yat, what? Na, of us. Sutaptam, severe. Tapaha, penance. Etat, this. Isha, O Lord. Nirandhasam, without taking any food. Kalam, time. Adabram, for a long duration. Apsu, within the water. Sarvam, all. Tat, that. Etat, this. Purushasya, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Umana, the most exalted. Mrihimahe, we want this benediction. Te, of you. Paritoshanaya, for the satisfaction. Okay. Well, I apologize for my pronunciation today. My mouth is not cooperating. Okay. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dear Lord, we have studied the Vedas, accepted a spiritual master, and offered respect to brahmanas, advanced devotees, and aged personalities who are spiritually very advanced. We have offered our respects to them, and we have not been envious of any brother, friends, or anyone else. We have also undergone severe austerities within the water and have not taken food for a long time. All these spiritual assets of ours are simply offered for your satisfaction. We pray for this benediction only and nothing more. Please repeat. Dear Lord, we have studied the Vedas, accepted a spiritual master, and offered respect to brahmanas, advanced devotees, and aged personalities who are spiritually very advanced. We have offered our respects to them, and we have not been envious of any brother, friends, or anyone else. We have also undergone severe austerities within the water and have not taken food for a long time. All these spiritual assets of ours are simply offered for your satisfaction. We pray for this benediction only and nothing more. Purport. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Samsiddhir Haritoshanam, the real perfection of life is pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedaischa sarver aham eva vidya. In understanding the Vedas, one has to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who has actually understood him surrenders unto him after many, many births. We find all these qualifications in the Prachetas. They underwent severe austerities and penance within the water, and they did not take any food for a very long time. They practiced these austerities not for material benediction, but for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. One may engage in any business, material or spiritual, but the purpose should be the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This verse presents a perfect picture of Vedic civilization. People training to become devotees should be respectful not only to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but also to those who are elderly in knowledge, who are Aryans and actual devotees of the Lord. An Aryan is one who does not boast, but is an actual devotee of the Lord. Aryan means advanced. Formerly, those who claimed to be Aryans had to be devotees of the Lord. For instance, in Bhagavad Gita 2:2, Krishna chastised Arjuna by saying he was speaking like a non-Aryan. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupaskitam Anarajustam Asvardhyam Akirti Karamarjuna. The Supreme Person, Bhagavan, said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the progressive values of life. They do not lead to higher planets, but to infamy." Arjuna, the Kshatriya, was refusing to fight despite being directly ordered by the Supreme Lord. He was thus chastised by the Lord as belonging to a non-Aryan family. Anyone who is advanced in the devotional service of the Lord certainly knows his duty. It does not matter whether his duty is violent or non-violent. It is sanctioned and ordered by the Supreme Lord. It must be performed. An Aryan performs his duty. It is not that Aryans are unnecessarily inimical to living entities. The Aryans never maintain slaughterhouses, and they are never enemies of poor animals. The Prachetas underwent severe austerities for many, many years, even within the water. Accepting austerities and penances is the avowed business of those interested in advanced civilization. The word Narantasam means without food. Eating voraciously and unnecessarily is not the business of an Aryan. Rather, the eating process should be restricted as far as possible. When Aryans eat, they only eat prescribed eatables. Regarding this, the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9:26, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktya puritam ashnami prayatat manaha. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. Thus there are restrictions for the advanced Aryans. Although the Lord himself can eat anything and everything, he restricts himself to vegetables, fruits, milk, and so on. This verse thus describes the activities of those who claim to be Aryans. Om Jnana Tirmidhi Sadhana Shalakaya Chaksharamilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tabadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatham Vitam Tam Sachivam Savadetam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakambadam Shah Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopesha Gopeka Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Takta Kanchana Koranki Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Suti Devi Brahmami Hari Priya Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All right, let me read the verse one more time. Yanasvitam Gurava Prasadita Viprascha Vidascha Sadanuritya Aryanata Sardobra Tarascha Sarvani Bhutani Anusya Yava Yanasvitaptam Tapa Etarisha Nirandhasam Kalamada Brahmapsu Sarvam Tadeta Purushasya Pumno Mahate Parito Shanaya. Dear Lord, we have studied the Vedas, accepted a spiritual master, and offered respect to brahmanas, advanced devotees, and aged personalities who are spiritually very advanced. We have offered our respects to them, and we have not been envious of any brother, friends, or anyone else. We have also undergone severe austerities within the water, and have not taken food for a long time. All these spiritual assets of ours are simply offered for your satisfaction. We pray for this benediction only and nothing more. Okay. All right, so in this verse, we can see the Prachetas, they have actually prayed for the ultimate benediction, which is the purpose of life, right? To satisfy and please the Lord. And this is the entire purpose of human life, is to please Krishna. And most people, they think, the purpose of life is to eat, drink, and be merry, because for tomorrow we will die, right? But where has that gotten us? I mean, that's gotten us to where everybody's working so hard to please themselves that they're completely disregarding their family, their neighbors, their friends, and it's caused a lot of derision and friction in our society, right? There's so many dark things going on in our society, and that's because everybody's sort of in it for themselves, right? It's not like a good team. Like, we're not team players, right? We're just in it for ourselves. And so actually, it's impossible to please ourselves for very long. Temporarily, we might be able to do that. But eventually that pleasure is going to wear off. So when that happens, then our needs, what we think we need, our needs actually grow and to something bigger. So if you can think of it this way, like someone who's very poor, maybe one of the people that are out on the street, especially now it's been so raining, and cold, they might be thinking, oh gosh, if I just had, adequate food and shelter, then I would be happy, right? And so that seems likely a pretty reasonable thought. Yeah, if I had adequate food and shelter, then I would be happy. But what ends up happening is that once we get that adequate, we get those needs met, suddenly we kind of invent other needs. And so we can see this, there's been many stories of, they call them rags to riches stories, right? Of someone who started off very poor and through either dedication and hard work or, talent or fame, or sometimes for no reason at all, they become very wealthy. And so what ends up happening is certainly when they were very poor, they were probably thinking, oh yes, if I just had adequate food and shelter, or I had a decent car that, a Toyota that could get me from point A to point B without breaking down, then I'll be happy. But usually when someone becomes wealthy, they don't stop there, right? I was thinking about Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey, she was quite poor when she was growing up. And I'm sure, she was thinking at some point, oh, if only I just had, a nice, reasonable home and a reasonable, vehicle and nice clothes to cover myself, then I'll be happy. But is that how she lives now? No, she's got, big mega mansion, so many cars and everything. And that's because once you have those needs met, you're no longer satisfied, right? And you think, oh, what can I get now? And so, yeah, it's just like a treadmill. We just keep adding more to it, and we're just never satisfied. That it's like stoking a fire, right? We're putting firewood in. That fire is just going to get bigger and bigger. It's not gonna go out. And as the fire gets bigger, it needs more wood to maintain it, right? So yeah, there's a saying that your expenses rise to meet your income, right? Have you guys heard that saying? So yeah, so you think, oh, if I make 100,000 a year, then I'll be able to pay all my bills. Everything will be great. So you finally make that 100,000 a year. Well, next thing you know, oh, now you have bills that will meet that 100,000 a year. So it's a known phenomenon. I personally experienced this phenomenon on a much smaller scale. Suddenly, if I have more income, suddenly there's more things that I need to buy, right? And so, yeah, we see this going from your basic needs, food and shelter, all the way up to, right, what billionaires buy, like rockets to go to Mars, and islands, things like that. I'm sure if they could buy the moon, I'm sure they would do that. Even if they can't go there, right? And so actually, we cannot be happy or satisfied without satisfying the Lord. So that is the way that we can find happiness, is to satisfy Krishna first. Because we know the great analogy, right, that Krishna, he is the root of everything. And just like a tree, when you want that tree to grow, you have to water that root, and then all the branches are nourished. And so we're the branches and the leaves and the fruits, and so we have to please Krishna, and then automatically we are pleased. And so we know in the first canto, when it tells us clearly what is the purpose of life, that the supreme occupation for all humanity is that by which men can attain a loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Now, I've probably said this quote more than any other in the classes that I give, because that's the prescription for our life. That's what we should be doing, is aspiring for pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord, because that is going to not only give us a loving relationship with the Lord, but it will completely satisfy us. That's like a side effect of it, right? And so I say this every time. When was the last time you were completely satisfied by anything? I mean, by kirtan? Yeah. Exactly. And that's because that's devotional service, right? Yeah. And so that is how we can be happy. And so last night I was over at Mantra Oasis, and this was really cute. I was talking with Deborah, and I had talked about the same thing about devotional service. And I was talking with Deborah, and she said, oh, well, just one thing, in the morning when I'm, dancing at Mangalarti for Krishna, I'm dancing for my own enjoyment. and I and I said, well, here's the thing. I said, even if you're just dancing for your own enjoyment, but you're doing it at Mangalarti, the Lord is still pleased by that. Even if our motivation is mixed, right? He's still pleased by that. And the great thing about bhakti is that as we're performing it, we're becoming purified, and it's enjoyable, right? And so as we are participating in bhakti, as we are performing bhakti, the main side effect is that we become happy, we become peaceful. And so even if you're coming with this kind of, oh, I'm going to please myself by dancing for the Lord, you're also pleasing him. And so, which is like a positive feedback loop, right? So you're pleasing yourself, but you're also pleasing the Lord, and the Lord is being pleased. And so now you're being more pleased, and now you're pleasing yourself more, and you're pleasing the Lord more, and so on and so forth. And so if we keep, it's ever increasing. Exactly. And so okay, so this verse also describes what the Prachetas did that was pleasing to the Lord. And so the one thing they mentioned, let's see, they've studied the Vedas, right? And so this is important, right? We have to study, how can we build that relationship with Krishna if we don't know anything, right? We don't know anything about him. By studying the Vedas, we get to hear about what other devotees have done, and how they relate to the Lord, and how we ourselves can relate to the Lord. And we also, we also learn about Krishna himself, and what he looks like, what he likes to do, what his personality is like, and so on and so forth. Because it's very hard to have a loving relationship with somebody if you don't know them, if you don't know anything about them, right? That's the phenomenon going on in the internet dating scene, right? It's called catfishing. And so, have you guys heard about this? So catfishing just means that you have presented yourself in a false way, right? You make a post online, maybe use a picture of yourself from 20 years ago when you were thinner and less old, and you just present yourself better than you actually are. Or sometimes you completely, you take a picture of a much better looking person than you, and you put that on. People do that, right? And then they go out and they try to build a relationship with somebody over the internet. And so you're right back and forth, and you think you're talking to, Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise or something. And then when you finally meet up for a date, you see, some, chubby middle-aged guy that, doesn't look like Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt at all. And so you're disappointed, right? So not only are you disappointed because this person doesn't meet with the expectations that you had of them, but also you realize you don't know them at all. So how can you build a relationship, right? You thought you were building one, but you don't know anything about them at all, actually. And so with Krishna, if we don't know anything about him, we can't build that relationship. Thankfully, I don't think he's catfishing us. Right? So when we hear all these wonderful stories about him, they're actually true, because he's the Supreme Lord. And so it's the one time where we can really relax and think, okay, when I finally see the Lord face to face, I mean, it's going to be greater than my expectations. Whereas if you're, meeting some young lady or some young man from the internet is probably not going to be greater than your expectations. I mean, maybe that'd be pretty rare though. Okay, so yeah, so we have to study. We have to study, and then they also accepted a spiritual master, and that we know is important, right? Because a spiritual master, they're able to help guide us because they have done the process themselves, right? And so it can be very detrimental if you just try to speculate your way back home to Godhead. It's very likely that it won't work. So a spiritual master is going to be able to guide you because they've studied the Vedas, they've done all these things. Another thing that they did was they offered respect to brahmanas and advanced devotees and aged personalities who were spiritually very advanced. So this is really important, is that someone that is more spiritually advanced than you, you should offer them all respects. Someone who's on the same level of you, you should make friends with, and someone who's less spiritually advanced than you, you should help encourage them, right? And so if we do this, then it's very beneficial to ourselves and very beneficial to others, and is a recipe for a very sweet, peaceful sangha. So, and then this is something that is actually quite sad nowadays, that people that do have some spiritual advancement really are not highly respected. I remember hearing an interview with some nuns, probably about 20 years ago, and I was watching a program about nuns, the Catholic nuns, and they were talking about how they used to go out. You know, a lot of Catholic orders have stopped wearing, the nun outfit, the habit, and one of the nuns was saying that they used to go out in the habit, and people would treat them with respect. They felt protected, like that people wouldn't harm them. People would treat them with respect because they saw that they were a spiritual person. But they said that no longer was that the case, and so they didn't feel safe any longer, right? Wear that, and so that's really sad. And so I don't know if that's exactly why so many orders have stopped wearing the habits, or if it was to make them more relatable and approachable to the average person. Maybe a little bit of both, right? But that made me sad when I heard that the nuns felt that, they were no longer safe walking around the city at night, riding the subway at night, or whatever it was, So, yeah, okay, so then the other thing that Pracheta said, this one's really important. It says, we have not been envious of any brother, friends, or anyone else. And so envy is a very ugly feeling, right? I'm feeling envious of your relaxed posture over there. No, I'm just kidding. Envy is very ugly. I had a friend many years ago who was incredibly envious of his friend, and it made no sense to me. He just saw everything that they had joined the military together, and his friend ended up getting medically discharged, and something happened, and he ended up getting MS, which apparently the military somehow had some culpability in this. I don't know exactly why. And so then they were paying him. They were giving him money. And so my friend was so envious of this. He was like, he didn't even serve, and he's getting this check every month. And, and I said, yeah, but I mean, he's really sick. Like he's very, very ill, I mean, like, yeah. And he was just so envious over this friend of his, that it was actually destroying his own life, right? Because of that envy was so strong, it destroyed any chance at happiness that he had, right? Because he was so busy, oh, look what he has, I don't have that. Meanwhile, completely forgetting the fact that, oh, everybody has their own problems, right? And this friend's problem was quite obvious, MS, but still, that ruined his chance at having a happy life. And it honestly, it ruined our relationship too, because I saw that and I was just like, I didn't want to be around a person that was so envious like that. It was so negative, such negative emotion, and so envy can very quickly destroy any of your, it can really quickly destroy your spiritual life. So definitely try to keep that in check and realize that not a blade of grass moves without Krishna's knowledge. And so in reality, that means that we're precisely where we're supposed to be, right? So if you can remember that, it's not always easy, especially when things are hard. But try to look at things, what can I learn from this situation, right? I know it's a bummer when you see like, oh, hey, that you got a bigger piece of cake than I got. I know. I know that's a bummer. But we should definitely just be happy. Oh, look, well, at least I have some cake or whatever. So another thing that the Prachetas did was austerities. So it says, we have undergone severe austerities within the water and have not taken food for a long time. So, austerities and a controlled diet. So these things actually please Krishna. And austerities, not only do they please the Lord, but they actually benefit us as well by allowing us to make it easier for us to get into the mode of goodness, right? Because if we're just kind of indulging ourselves all the time, we kind of become lazy and more in the mode of ignorance. But if we do austerities, that helps us to stay sharp and stay in the mode of goodness, right? And so that's pleasing to Krishna. And being in the mode of goodness is a prerequisite for beginning to understand Krishna, right? And so that's why sometimes people will refer to the 4 regulative principles as the 4 regulative principles of freedom, right? Because it actually frees us. It frees up our mind and all that space that's taken up by indulging our senses. It frees up that bandwidth so that we can begin to understand Krishna. We can actually start making progress towards that goal. Not to mention so many of the ways that we indulge ourselves are addicting, like we're just going from one one thing to another, like, oh yes, I'm going to maybe watch some movies, and now I'm gonna eat some ice cream, and now I'm gonna, and not that there's anything wrong with those things, but what's best is if you eat the ice cream while you're watching the movie, right? You get that double enjoyment. Yeah, and there's not anything wrong with that, but you can get addicted to your own brain chemistry, right? You get these dopamine rushes, and so then you're just going from one experience to the other, whatever gives you the most dopamine. And that's how, like slot machines or social media works, right? It gives your brain these little dopamine hits so that you keep going. So I don't know if you've ever gotten on social media and they have those very short videos and you can just endlessly scroll through them, right? And before you know it, Yeah. And before you know it, an hour's gone by and you're like, what did I do, right? It's that same mechanism that casinos use, right? Because you think, at least when I do that, I think, these are not even that interesting. Why do I keep looking at them? But then I think, well, maybe the next one will be better. And so I just keep going. And that's the same thing with a slot machine, right? You think, oh, I didn't win, but maybe the next turn I'll win, right? And so that's each time that happens, your brain releases a little bit of dopamine, and And so you kind of get high on that, right? And so if we're just chasing that dopamine high, we don't have any room to get to know Krishna, right? And so then the last thing in the purport, Srila Prabhupada was talking about Aryans and how Aryan means advanced, and that in the past, he said it like 3 times that an Aryan actually had to be a devotee of the Lord. And so, of course, I need to make the obligatory comment that we're not referring to the Aryans as were popularized by Adolf Hitler during World War II. And they stole that from the Vedas. And so that's not what we're referring to. Not only were they not devotees of the Lord, but they maintained slaughterhouses, not for animals, but for people. So, this flies directly in the face of what an Aryan actually is. And so I think I'm going to end there. It's a little bit early, but maybe if you guys could tell me a time when you were pleased, when you were trying to please Krishna, and then you ended up being pleased also. So, and I'll just start. I mean, this happens to me almost every day when I do my deity worship, right? And sometimes, I'm tired, or I want to sit and scroll through those videos or something, and so I don't always want to do it. But then I say, well, I'm going to do it because I don't want my deities to feel neglected. And so then what ends up happening is when I'm done, I actually feel so happy, and I'm just looking at them and I think, oh gosh, they look so cute. And so this happens almost every day, right? And so I don't know if any of you have had an experience like that or even this one's really kind of silly, but when we put this new tablet in, and I was trying to figure out, there was one little snag that I was trying to figure out with the software, like, because it kept asking for a tip in here, and I was like, that's just rude. Like, why would, there's nobody here, you're doing it yourself and you're going to ask for a tip, like. And so I was like, I have to get that off. And so it was a little difficult to figure it out. And so it took kind of like the whole morning, and then I figured it out, and I was so happy. I was just, happier than I should have been. And I think that was because I wanted it to be nice for the devotees that come here. I don't want them to make a donation and then think, oh, they have to tip on top of making that donation, So anyway, yeah.
Then all the restaurants, you pay and then they don't give it, then they would say 15%.
Yeah.
And it's really a lot.
Yeah.
So I have one.
Yeah, please.
Speaking of the tablet, first I made a cover that was just, I don't know, it just didn't look that great. And so then I really worked on that one. And it's not perfect, but it's so much better.
Yeah.
And I feel like, okay. And then Mommy gave me a little swing project.
Yeah.
And they were really long. I even stayed up late and it turned out really,
Isn't that nice?
yeah, service.
Yeah.
Service is so nice. And then also the Prachetas, I think the benediction they asked was association of devotees.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they asked that in I think it was the previous verse. Yeah, the benediction.
Right.
Yeah. That they always wanted to be with this association of devotees. Yeah, and then in this one, they pray just for the benediction to satisfy the Lord, So, I mean, both of those things are like, I mean, if everybody could just have that as a desire to want to have the association of devotees and please the Lord, then everything would be perfect, right? Yeah, I know. As soon as I came in this morning, I saw that cover, and I thought, oh wow, look at how fancy, that's beautiful. And I wanted to go over and touch it, but I still have not got to do that. So when I'm done with class, I'm going to go over there and touch it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
The Prachetas, I compare it to what Lord Chaitanya Prabhupada has. Compared to like, what, how many 10,000 years under the water, no food.
Right.
It's like, oh my God. You know? Okay.
Yeah, it's much nicer to chant and dance
Right.
and eat delicious prasadam. And yeah, I think if our program was, okay, go under the water and don't eat anything for 10,000 years, I don't think we'd have many takers. So thankfully that's not what Srila Prabhupada has prescribed for us. Yeah, exactly. Right. That's why in the 11th canto it says so many souls actually want to be born in Kali Yuga, because of that exact dichotomy right there. Right. 10,000 years under the water, not eating, or eating delicious prasadam, associating with wonderful people, dancing, having nice festivals. I mean, I think I'll choose the second one. All right, Vanessa, you had something?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, asking for the benediction of, for me personally, as an example, like, the devotees coming to your home and, like, trying to host the devotees in your home. I feel like it's kind of an austerity to, like, oh, what if, like, you know, if I'm a horrible host and it just, like, isn't working out and, you know, the rice I cook turns to much and that's something that, you know, I've experienced, that, you know, everything worked out and the devotees are always so wonderful, you know, blissful to have in your association, and then, you know, you feel relieved because it worked out, but you also feel just so grateful that you were able to meet their needs, their basic needs, and then also hear them and have them speak in your presence. So that was very pleasing as I was like, trying to please.
Yeah, you hosted me before at your house, and it was wonderful. It was so nice, and I could imagine. I haven't really hosted anybody in my house because it's about the size of a phone booth, but but I could imagine that would be very fulfilling. While you were speaking, it made me think of one of my favorite austerities is actually doing the Thanksgiving seva here, right? It's a little bit stressful. I mean, we have so many people. I mean, it's just like, it's crazy. And you're just like, every moment there's something to do. But like when I'm done with it, I'm like all amped up. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm ready. You know, like I could run around the block or something, because I've just had such a nice time. Even though in the midst of it, you might talk to me and I might seem pretty grumpy, you know. Actually, I love it, you know, just as long as it doesn't happen every day, that would be too intense.
I'm here, I slipped on the turkey food.
Oh, no. All right, yeah, Chandrika.
I was thinking a little bit about in the class when we were talking about like envy, and I think, you know, sometimes a little jealousy is okay, but it turns to envy is more like narcissistic, dark, like that. Sometimes that happens like in relationships.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody has that kind of a narcissist within them that they have to work out, and turn into envy and brings out their narcissism and stuff. So think about how can a person really kind of get through that, because, you know, again, when you're under pressure, sometimes it brings that side out, and of course you might feel happy afterwards, but how can you remain like sattvic during being under pressure? Because it's okay kind of to laugh about it afterwards, but at any time, it affects a lot of people when they are.
Yeah.
Kind of being in more of a mode during that time.
Yeah. So do you mean like specifically about things like envy, like how to kind of overcome that, or stuff like, you know, Thanksgiving pressure or all of that?
And it's like now it's almost like your ego is coming out. Yeah.
I mean, I know for me personally, like my my mind tells me all kinds of crazy stuff all the time, and then I try, I'm not always successful, but I try to then tell myself, wait a minute, no, you're not in charge here. I understand, that you're saying this, you're telling me to be envious of this person, but that is not a helpful emotion, but I know, like, when you're in the heat of it, it's not always possible to do that. But if you keep trying to do that, you keep practicing, it does become easier, so that you can kind of, it's like an internal battle inside me sometimes, where I'm like arguing with myself, like, why are you being such a jerk? Stop doing that. It's not helpful, and this is not the kind of person you want to be, right? But again, when you're really in the heat of it, that can be difficult. So that's why you got to keep practicing that, like, little by little, and
Self-reflection.
yeah, just
Every step is step.
yeah,
A lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
They,
yeah,
they don't get past. My brother's held a grudge against my parents his whole life. He's just miserable. It's like, move on,
yeah.
move on.
Yeah, I mean, and you can also, if you have a moment to reflect, how are these emotions serving me? Because a lot of people, when they have these kind of negative emotions, at some point they can realize this is not a healthy emotion, or this is not a thing that's being of service to me in my life. It's not helping my relationships, and so. If somebody has the capacity to reflect in that way, then they can work towards changing that. But yeah, if they don't have the capacity to reflect on themselves, then I'm not really sure what you can do in that scenario, except for you can chant, you can pray.
It really helped me when I came to Krishna. I had a lot of issues, a lot of anger, and I deserved worse.
Mhm.
I deserved worse. Krishna was the person who gave me total punishment, and that helped so much.
Oh,
What did you do? What did you do?
Was that?
What was your solution?
When I came to the moon, I heard that I deserved worse.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. No, that's other.
yeah,
Right. And so that was a really good reflection. Oh yeah, everybody's got their karma. You've got to be responsible for it, and move on.
yeah, and I think that, like most people, if you ask them, they'll say, if you say, oh, are you a good person? Like most people will say, yes, I'm a good person, right? I don't think it's very rare that someone would say, no, I'm not. But what I've found is that, right? I mean, exactly. And but what I've found is as you become purified, right, you start to realize, actually, no, I've not been a good person. And like you said, I deserve more punishment than what I got, and that it's when we have those realizations that we're able to really grow, so. All right, I think we'll end there. Yeah, I'll go.
Most advanced or humble, the Prabhupada,
Yeah, exactly.
In Charles Dickens' The Christmas Carol, Ebenezer Scrooge,
Yeah.
the way Dickens dealt with Scrooge was he gave the vision of the ghost of Christmas future.
Right.
It scared the hell out of him.
Yeah.
Because he died and nobody
cared. Yeah.
Nobody cared.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen that happen, right? When people die, and if anybody does go to the wake, they're just like barely trying to keep it together so they don't start, giving a eulogy about what a jerk they were. I don't want that to happen to me. So, yeah.
So my dad lived to a rival age, like 96, but he was having visions of the animals he killed.
Oh, yeah.
That was really heavy.
Yeah, and I've heard that too, right? You think you're okay with like all these things that you've done in your life that were maybe not the best, but then I've heard stories like this a lot when people are on their deathbed, right? They're thinking about those things. They're thinking about, because you're able to distract yourself for so long. Basically, you're thinking like, I'm You basically think I'm not gonna die, but then when you come to face with the fact that, yeah, I'm gonna die, now you start thinking, oh my gosh, all those things that, I did wrong, so make it right now. And, build that relationship with Krishna, because he will get rid of that karma, right, if we start practicing bhakti, so. All right.
All right, thank you, great class.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
You did great on the Sanskrit. A lot.